Okay, so I wanted to go through these answers real quick on here, tell you what we're looking at. And this should help us with the next thing we're doing that we're starting today, which is looking at some of the connective tissues and muscle tissue under slides. See if we can make any sense of what we see under the microscope. So on this first one, so we're looking at epithelial cells, nerve cells, muscle cells, matrix. Where found? Matrix should be colored differently from the living cells of that tissue type. Be careful, this may not be as easy as it seems. Um, in the beginning here, we're going to have A and B, couple epithelial tissues. All right, so we could call them just epithelial tissue to color it. We could even be more specific and name the tissue. This would be epithelial, and to be more specific, it's one layer flattened cells, so it's simple squamous. All right. And B is another epithelial. And this time it's one layer of cubed cells, so that would be simple cuboidal. Okay. And I might not go through the whole packet. We'll see how long this takes, but I will post the rest of the answers up there so you have answers to the entire packet. But the main idea is seeing some of these slides at the beginning, or to see what they are supposed to look like, so that when we look at the slides, we can try to identify it and make sense of it. All right, so C is going to be actually a type of muscle tissue. And some things I noticed, it does look like it's striped in appearance, so it does appear to be striated. It also is branching. That's a big characteristic of this. The branching helps me understand that this is cardiac muscle. Okay. All right. Letter D is actually dense connective tissue. Well, it's connective tissue. Okay. So very closely packed fibers is what you're seeing there. So now, in the beginning where it said to color the matrix, of the four tissue types of the body, which one do we actually talk about the matrix? Connective tissues, right? So the matrix is kind of the surrounding substance. We could just really just color this whatever color you chose for the matrix. Okay? So we're really only coloring the matrix color on the connective tissues. Really, you're coloring the connective tissues that color. Good? All right. Now this one. So this is pretty recognizable. But you see these kind of circular units here. They're referred to as osteons, actually. An osteo means we're referring to bone. So this would be, bone is a type of connective tissue. So whatever color your matrix is, you could be coloring those in with that. Okay. This looks like another muscle. It looks striped. So muscle tissue. Striped. So if it's striped, striated, that's what we call for that. It can only be one of two types. It could either be cardiac muscle or it could be skeletal muscle. We already used cardiac, and the main difference is you can see up here, cardiac, all that branching, okay? Whereas with skeletal muscle, we will not. This is skeletal. Cool with that? And then we have letter G. And what these are these cells that kind of branch out, long extensions on them. This is actually going to be neural tissue or nervous. All right. Letter H is a type of connective tissue. So we could color in all that matrix around these cells. And the thing is with this, what this one is a type of cartilage. It's the most popular cartilage in the body. It's called hyaline cartilage. And I guess what's noticeable about this, I notice, it kind of looks like eyeballs, weird eyeballs, monster, like on a monster or something. All right. Letter I is going to be another muscle tissue. This is not as easy to tell that it's muscle tissue because it's not striped, it's not striated. But it has these like spindle-shaped cells that get flatter towards the end. We call that tapering. This is actually what smooth muscle would look like. Letter J, all this open space, nice for storing things. This is like fat or adipose. Again, that's another connective. What's tough on this is we would have to actually color this stuff on here for the connective tissue. And so when we get these cells in adipose tissue, they can get larger, they can expand pretty easy, they can contract and get smaller, not really go away though. So that's why sometimes as you get older and you gain a lot of weight, you can lose it, but sometimes it's really hard to like ever get back to like your high school weight or something like that. I notice my low weight, it gets to be about 10 pounds heavier every 10 years. I'm definitely not at my low weight right now. All right. Starting today, though. Today's an important day. First day of the rest of my life. All right. This is going to be, this looks kind of familiar. I see some flattened cells. We saw flattened cells up there with smooth muscle. But this, with the multiple layers going like that, this is going to be epithelial. And we can kind of see here, it's got like underlying tissue that's different. Might help us understand the line surfaces. This is going to be many layers with the cells at the top flattened. This would be stratified squamous, like skin. All right. And then we have another type of connective tissue from the CTP, and this would be what areolar represents. This is typically what I think of when I think CTP, unless it's fat adipose tissue. Okay. And so I'm going to stop there with that. Like I said, I will post all the rest of the answers. I might just take a shot of my key and attach it to today's lesson along with this video. But what we're going to do next is we're going to try to look at some of these things, look at some different things under the microscope and see if they make any sense.